Hello and welcome to Let's Get Tender, Money Conversations That Matter. I'm your host, Marlene Elizabeth. As female entrepreneurs, it always helps to remember that we're natural born leaders wired for success in several ways. First, we're opportunity experts. We tend to see opportunity in everything and everyone. We also are experts at cultivating relationships, a vital skill for success, especially in today's marketplace. Women are excellent long-term strategic thinkers. We're more willing to rally behind a long-term sustainable solution rather than quick fixes. And women are natural givers, an important quality in every relationship to money. In today's episode, you'll meet Nancy Mills, founder of The Spirited Woman and the Sisterhood of Sacred Scarves, who shares the secret behind her successful business model and her beautiful, powerful message for all women. Get ready for an authentic, tender, and spirited conversation about women, money, and the gift of sacred joy for your financial success.
Welcome to Let's Get Tender, Money Conversations That Matter, a video podcast series with certified money coach Marlene Elizabeth, with amazing weekly guests who share their inner challenges, personal triumphs, and inside tips and strategies so you can prosper, lead, and love bravely in business and life. So get comfy and get ready to grow money wings.
I am so excited to be having a money conversation today with my guest, Nancy Mills. Welcome, Nancy.
Hi, Marlene. How are you?
Doing great. I am so excited to have you here, Nancy, and to share a little bit about the work you do, as well as to be able to talk a little bit more about your relationship to money, right? But before we do that, I would like to share a little bit more about Nancy Mills. So Nancy is the creator of the Spirited Woman approach. I mean, how cool is that, right? The Spirited Woman. I love it. And she's the founder of the Spirited Woman. Nancy, she created the Sisterhood of the Sacred Scarves, and it honors women of the world through scarf and ceremony. A portion of all her scarf sales is donated by Spirited Women to the Spirited Woman Foundation, which was created by Nancy to help heal and support women through actions of empowerment. To date, over 3,600 spirited prayer scarves have been sold to close to 1,000 women internationally, and more than $16,000 has been distributed to 18 and more, I know it's probably more than 18 now, nonprofits. She's been interviewed on USA Today and has been a guest on the Today Show. So once again, welcome to the show, Nancy.
Yeah, thank you very much, Marlene.
So tell us a little bit, Nancy, about what your first memory of money is.
Well, my first memory was my father going through the house saying, money doesn't grow on trees. Money doesn't grow on trees. And it instilled a lot of fear in me. And I didn't even realize what his point was, if you really want to know the truth. I don't know what he was really trying to say. Was he trying to say work hard for money? Was he trying to say, unless you really work hard, you're not going to have any, or don't expect anybody to give you any? I don't really know what he was trying to say, but it didn't come through as a positive for me.
So it was kind of confusing then. It was, right?
It was very confusing. It was very confusing. And, I was born in a time where there was no internet. There was not what is going on today. So I didn't really know, what my choices were, other than to work myself to the bone. That's how I intuited it. It's like, if he's telling me that money doesn't grow on trees, then I better really, really work hard. And I think the point that I'm raising about the internet today is the fact that, yes, you do need to work hard but there are a multitude of ways to earn passive income and to learn how to learn passive income that was not available to me when I first started my career.
Oh, absolutely. That's so exciting today. And to be able to kind of think about this memory, that you had with your dad, it sounds like he was the predominant influence for you when it came to money.
In a very bad way. Not in a good way. I will tell you that. He was the only breadwinner in the house. My mother was a stay-at-home mom, and he really instilled a lot of fear in me.
And so what have you found, Nancy, that maybe in encountering and talking with other people or women that or even just in your own life, what would you say that that's one of the main limiting money beliefs that has been a real struggle for you about?
I would say that there's a lot of limiting beliefs. And I think one of the things that happens with women, and this is a generalization. Obviously, it's a generalization. But the thing is that most of us do not sit around and have money conversations. That's sort of not the way of the world when it comes to women. That we just don't. What have you invested your money in? I can't even remember the last time I had a conversation with somebody who said, oh, I invested my money into this, or I invested my money into this. Women still very often are still at the point where the only way that they're going to get ahead has to do with what they're doing through their livelihood. Whereas there is a whole other world out there where one can make funds. You can buy gold, you can have a wine collection, you can buy art, you can be in the stock market, you can own vintage cars. There's so many things that you can do. And I think what needs to happen is that we need to expand our worth, not only through what we do, but what we can do through what our company or job presents us with financially. And I really mean that.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you say is that just kind of this overall belief that women don't talk about money, right?
Definitely an overall belief. And also, whether it's a man or a woman, they view it as being very invasive if you sit down and say, what's your portfolio? They'll look at you like, I'm not going to tell you what's in my portfolio. In other words, money is not necessarily in any way an easy, simple conversation for people to have. Whether you're women, whether you're a couple, whether you're talking to kids, it is not like talking about what you're going to make for dinner. It's a completely different conversation with a lot of emotional strings attached to it. So if I have my emotional strings and I'm talking to somebody else who has their emotional strings, then we got a whole bunch of strings in that conversation.
Absolutely. This is very intimate, bold territory, isn't it?
Yeah, it is intimate. It is, I guess it's bold, but really nobody is reinventing the wheel here. And you're really not divulging that much that is personal. If I would have had a conversation with my father when I was younger about, this is what you want to do, Nancy. You want to take $200 a month. I'm just using that as an example. And you want to put it in a stock account for the rest of your life. Don't pay any attention to it. Don't worry if the market goes up and down. Just you do this, you just do this, and he would have instilled confidence in me that the $200 was part of a whole program and part of a whole plan. I would have been worth $4 or $5 million now, just by compounding that money and, and leaving it there and not doing anything with it, because quite honestly, I would have never needed it because I've always earned my own income. So it would have been a life savings that had no fear attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's where the conversations are missing. The conversations are missing between the parents and the kids. That's where it all really needs to start.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also what you're talking about here is, while the conversation about money can be intimate and tender because of the emotions, you know, when we talk about money, we're talking about power, we're talking about value, we're talking about self-worth, we're talking about all those things. But then there's also, like you're saying, the very practical nuts and bolts, left brain side of money. And so it's kind of that dance, and they really both impact one another so much. So Nancy, what would you say then are some brave action steps that you have found yourself, you know, taking to be able to really become empowered in your relationship to money, or maybe other brave action steps that other people, you know, that you've learned from other people?
I do a ton of research, and I never take anybody at face value, ever. In other words, if somebody says do X, then I find out what it means to do Y in relationship to X. And before I make my decision, I research X and I research Y. I don't do things blindly, and I don't take anything, as I said, at face value. Just because somebody is a financial advisor doesn't mean that they have all the answers. It means that perhaps they can help you along the way, but they don't have all the answers. You still have to make your own decision. And it's very important to read. And there is tons of books, not only on women and money, but tons of books on how to invest money, what to do with your money, your attitude towards money, how to save, how to retire. There's a million different things you can do. And I force myself to read 2 to 4 books on money a month. That's just part of my deal. That's who I am, because I'm single, I don't have a family, and I'm it. I'm really it. And if I put myself in the position of depending on a financial advisor for everything and said, hey, you just go do it. You just go do it. You babysit my money. You just go do it. Then I would be making a decision from where I sit that is not one based on strength. You always need to know what's going on. And, you know, when both of my parents passed away, it became very clear to me that everybody will take your money. There's not a bank, a stockbroker, an insurance company. There's nobody who won't take your money. It's how you get your money back and how you get it out that is so important. And so that was a huge, huge lesson for me in terms of, you know, what one really has to think about in terms of, you know, the whole financial picture.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, when you talk about this, you know, this brave step, it is a brave step to believe in yourself, to believe that you actually have the intelligence, that you're a smart, capable woman with intuition, and the ability to be able to learn or find out and be resourceful in this whole area, rather than allowing yourself to become dependent on another person.
Well, it's just repeating the same thing all over again. It's just repeating the same thing all over again. I mean, if you're, you know, you're not breaking the cycle. The cycle breaks when you can say, okay, this is the plan. and I know where everything in the plan is. And I'm part of it. I'm part of it. This plan is has been created because there is interaction. It's a constant decision. It's a conscious decision. It's not picking up the phone and saying, just do it for me. Just do it for me. And that's what we as women need to get away from. There are many men, there's millions of men who have a financial advisor, to use that as an example, and say, just do it for me. They're not getting engaged either into the nuts and bolts. I mean, it's a financial advisor's job to know the ins and outs. But I think it's more pervasive with women on all levels. And that is something that we need to take control of. Really and truly, what does money mean to us? And the nurturing side of women is, oh, I'll help you. I will help you. What I have is yours. What can I do to help you? I'm here for you. And one of the things that I would say to any woman, anybody, always think of yourself first. I know that sounds selfish. I know that is hard to listen to, but that is the reality. That's what they tell you to do in airplanes. If you cannot breathe, you cannot save your kid. And the same thing is true, I think, about money.
Absolutely. When you talk about that nurturing aspect of women, it really brings up this whole concept of being able to approach money with a whole brain approach, meaning as women, as human beings, our brain, we have the nurture side of us as women, but we also have the CEO side. That's part of our left side of our brain. And then we also have that, kind of master coordinator in our brain. And we also have the innovator. And all of us have these aspects to our brain. And so to be able to tap into each one of those areas when it comes to our relationship with money is brave, because we can really feel comfortable in being a nurturer and being seen as a helper, but to be able to be seen as a CEO and a leader, someone that's really taking ownership and responsibility for our relationship to money, that's all so brave. So everything you're saying here is so powerful. I love it, Nancy. I love it. So in a nutshell, what would you say is a belief that you hold about money that empowers you in your business or in your life?
That's an interesting question. That's a really interesting question. I enjoy making money, but I enjoy making money if and only I can give back. And I'm not talking about giving to a friend who might have, has just called me and says, I need $200 to fix my car. I'm talking about the foundation component. I'm talking about the component that when we sell our Spirited Woman prayer scarves, a portion of every scarf goes to the foundation, which in turn goes to help heal and support women through actions of empowerment. We supported about 18 nonprofits. So I've really gotten to the point that it's almost hard for me to make money unless I know that I'm giving a portion of it back. That's what feeds me. But I earn it, and I do it with a sense of tenacity and persistence, and I don't do it from the sense of being a nurturer. I do it from the sense of being a giver. And I believe that the legacy component that we all have is very important. And to me, this is my legacy component. I will die a happy woman if I know that I have been able to give money so that other women around the world know that somebody out there cared enough to support them, whether it's in war-torn countries, whether it's through their economic endeavors, whether it's through helping them with medical activities that they're going through, perhaps breast cancer, whether it's going through domestic violence. I believe in giving back, because I believe it's so important for women to empower other women. And that's how I use the funds. I don't use them to pay somebody else's bills.
Beautiful, beautiful, and so powerful. Giving back is a huge component of having abundance, of thriving. And it's really, I personally feel that it's the way that we protect our soul when it comes to money, because we can be really darn good at making money, right? But instead of becoming enslaved by it, the more we just give it and let it keep flowing, creating it and giving it away, that's really how we maintain that healthy balance, that healthy dance with money.
I hope so, because all I can tell you is I've met the most fantastic people living my life this way. I mean, I've just met fantastic people, and it gives me such joy to see such appreciation. and I'm so happy to be able, we were one of the reasons how you and I met. We were able to meet through Worldwide Women, and we were able to get involved with the Girls Festival. And, Spirited Woman was a sponsor of the Girls Festival, one of the sponsors. And I look at those faces. I was up there for the Girls Festival, and I saw their faces, and it's like, it was just amazing to see that these girls were so enthralled with the concept of being empowered, with the concept of doing something with their lives. It was just fantastic. And to know that we were a part of that, it gives me such joy because they are our future.
So powerful. Oh, Nancy. So, what would you say, Nancy, then is a lesson that you've learned in your business, a money-related lesson that you've learned in business? It might be what you've already said, that you yourself have experienced that by just giving back, you've been able to attract money and give it, and it just becomes this beautiful flow in your life.
Right.
Would you say that's kind of the cornerstone, the heart of really the summary, right?
Well, it is. It is now. We've only been doing this component of the business for it will be 8 years in February. So, or 7 years, I can't remember. Yeah, it would be 7 years. And yes, I've seen a big difference in my business because, you speak of flow, you speak of things, going out and coming in. And I think in the past, when I wasn't doing this, my business was much more, it was harder for me because it didn't have the same joy component. I've been a women's empowerment community now for almost 20 years. And, the whole concept of Spirited Woman is you are enough as you are. The concept originally started through workshops, and then through workshops we expanded and really became very well known through the internet. And then we expanded through our pick lists, of which you've been on, where we feature every woman visionaries and books. And then we expanded through our scarves, which are there for women as a symbol of spirit, empowerment, and beauty. And it is that component that has really brought the connection element out. And I think that that's what's really made me happy as a person. And if you're happy, then you do a lot more. And I think one of the things that I have learned about myself is that I love connection. I love community. Those two words are very important in my life. And what can be more of a connector than a scarf? What can be more of a community than a sisterhood of the sacred circle? What can be more of a community than giving back to women who appreciate it out in the world? So I'm on point with what gives me joy. And I think when you feel that, you can do more. So that's a very important lesson about money. If you get up in the morning and if you go, oh my God, I cannot do one more day of this. Oh my goodness, I cannot. My brain is freezing. I'm so unhappy. I don't want to look out this window anymore. I don't want to pick up that phone anymore. Then, my advice to you, if that continues for a long time, by a long time, I'm saying 6 months, maybe to a year, you have got to walk away, whatever that is, and you have got to take a risk. And I think one of the things about being an entrepreneur and one of the things about money is that you've got to trust. If you don't trust, then you are not, in my mind, you're not believing in yourself. And I'm saying it's not so easy. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I haven't struggled with this kind of stuff. I've struggled with it a lot. But you have got to believe in yourself enough that somehow the money will come, and you have to trust the instincts that you have for yourself. And you've got to put one foot in front of the other. And, it all works out. It's really hard, but it works out.
Absolutely. What I love especially about having you on the show is, my book, Money Wings, your business model that you've described so beautifully in this interview is so much about how I envision, Money Wings. And so it's really powerful to hear in your spirited way, Nancy, how you manage your business, your beliefs around money that empower you in your business. And I could just continue this conversation, this really rich conversation with you. I know we're running out of time, and I really want people to really know how they can reach out to you, how they can learn more about buying your scarves, or even just.
Well, the holidays are coming up. I probably should.
Yes, yeah, they sure are. Right.
This is a time. Should be a timeless interview, right? But the holidays are coming up. And
yes.
So they can support us by buying the Spirited Woman prayer scarf. That would be so fantastic. When our holiday scarves sell out, we introduce them like movies. Our next one coming up is called Mystic Mama. That's going to be our holiday scarf. And, buy it. They're great gifts. It's great for yourself. The women's community is wonderful. So they're beautiful, beautiful, and they're symbols of spirit, empowerment, and beauty. And so it's a gift that touches your emotions for yourself or for someone else.
Absolutely. And I'm wearing one of my beautiful.
Yes, this scarf was 3 scarves ago. This is called Vibrant Spirit. And this was the scarf that a portion of this scarf went to the Girls Festival. And we were able to raise $1,100 and donate that to the Girls Festival. And it was so exciting. It was just so wonderful. We've sold about 200 of these scarves. So we're doing such good. We're doing such good. And then also when we feature women who are visionaries, when we featured you, we feature women who are out there in the world making a difference for other women. And so how neat is that? That's really wonderful too. So, all I can say is, to any woman out there, you're so strong, and you are your own wings. And once you believe that, then you will fly.
I love the phrase, the spirited woman, and the beautiful leader behind it, Nancy Mills. I couldn't agree with Nancy more. Women are strong and capable of achieving all that they desire. Yet, despite our unique design for financial success, women still commonly struggle with under-earning. Women earn less than men in the marketplace, and yes, experts point to countless barriers to explain this income gap, but some of this under-earning is self-induced, which means that these areas are within our control to shift and to change. Under-earners have several characteristics in common. Under-earners undervalue their skills, talents, and contributions. Under-earners self-sabotage. And under-earners fly under the radar. If you recognize any of these characteristics in yourself, I want to offer you some Braveheart tips. Number 1, if you undervalue your skills and your talents and your contributions, start learning how to stand in your truth and your power so that you can own your worth and your talents. It takes practice. Ask me how I know. But the journey leads you closer to your financial potential. Recognize the value that you bring to the world and be open to receiving the income that you deserve for your skills, your services, and/or products. Number 2, if you self-sabotage, well, you're not alone. Most of us are guilty of self-sabotage at one time or another. Some of the common ways that we tend to self-sabotage show up in a lot of different ways. So for example, procrastination, giving up in the 11th hour of our miracle, spending too much time dreaming and not enough time doing, neglecting our self-care, being unforgiving when mistakes are made, not showing up, allowing negative people to zap our energy, our enthusiasm, and our confidence, and many more examples. So it's important to understand how we sabotage our success, and also we need to understand why we're doing it. So listen to your self-talk. Recognize self-sabotaging thoughts or habits. Then notice and honor what you need to do to get back on track. Gently focus back on what you set out to accomplish. Number 3, if you tend to fly under the radar, remember that success lies in stretching beyond your comfort zone. Taking risks regularly is important instead of routinely staying inside your comfort zone and playing it safe. And risks can seem much bigger in our minds than they actually are. Believing in ourselves is a muscle that we can practice by acknowledging and reassuring our fears instead of allowing them to dictate our choices. So practice courage, stepping beyond your comfort zone, one brave feather at a time. Above all, remember that change begins with choice. It begins with you. So I encourage you to create a list of what's stopping you from allowing your financial success to unfold. Is it fear? Is it lack of a support system for your journey? Could it be that you're relying on someone or some circumstance to save you? Or maybe relying on someone to figure things out for you? Is it that your work or your business isn't aligned with your values, your strengths, your skills, or your passion? Or could it be that you've forgotten who you are along the way by putting everyone else's needs first before your own? Or perhaps there's another reason that more closely describes your circumstances. The important thing is to be honest with yourself and write it down. Awareness creates a new way of seeing yourself, and it reveals opportunities that were once hidden from sight. Awareness allows you to discover new solutions to old problems. So gently and bravely take ownership of your choices, remembering that you are not alone. Together, when you and I take responsibility for our financial life with compassion, forgiveness, and determination, we give ourselves the power to transform our financial circumstances and positively impact those around us. Now is the time to embrace your unique value and gifts that you've been given so that you can experience the prosperity, peace, and joy that you deserve. Now is the time to love more and fear less so that you can unfold your feminine power to prosper.